The year 1916 was a revolutionary one as far as we are concerned. We mean students of literature are concerned. The definition of language underwent a sea change because before that language was considered as a tool used by human beings for naming things, and we also thought, or we were taught, not thought but taught, that and therefore we thought that this tool language is used for naming, and the names, they have got some positive value or presence in them. When he said egg, we thought that there is egg in that word. Understand? In that way we thought, we connected it like that. But 1916, the great Swiss linguist Ferdinand de Saussure, it is pronounced like this, Saussure. Some people pronounce it as Saussure, Saussure, and so on. See, I am not an expert in that. What I have written here is what you find in Daniel Jones' dictionary. Understand? That is why. I just wanted to show you, because too many pronunciations are there. Thought that one we must, if possible, we must stick on one. That's all. So, no? That is. We need not say like that, but at least we should not say like this, Saussure, and so on. See, that's why I thought of giving this pronunciation here, okay, as given by Daniel Jones' dictionary, phonetic dictionary. Alright, so it was he who said, or he who declared, that language can be studied without any reference to the world outside or the things outside, like that you find the human beings, animals, trees, sky, celestial bodies also. Because he said, language is a relational structure. Language is a relational structure of differences. That's what he said. So this is the definition of language given by Saussure. So language is a relational structure of differences. Before that, you remember that famous Edward Sapir, definition of language given by Edward Sapir. You remember another? Language is a medium of communication used by human beings for communicating ideas, feelings, and emotions through written or spoken symbols. So this is the definition that we studied now, say years ago. Years ago we studied it. Language is a medium of communication used by human beings for communicating ideas, feelings, and emotions by written or spoken symbols. So that is the thing. But now here he comes and says that language is nothing but a relational structure of differences. That's it. So they have nothing to do with your emotion or your what you call the communicative aspect is not there at all. So in this definition, what you find is you are looking at this stuff called language and trying to see what is it. And then he says that it is a structure, relational, a web of relations you will find. And this relation, he says, because any item, 2 points he has already stated here. One is of differences. The other is, there is a web of relations. Relation and difference. Relation because any item in a language, in a particular language, if it stands out or it is not inclusive in the system, it has no value. That's it. Example, if it is a book, if it is not part of the part, or it is not included in the system of English, it has no value. Isn't it? For example, I will tell you. See, you have got a word like kitab. Kitab. Kitab is Hindi for book. Now, this kitab has no value in English because it is not part of the system of English. But kitab has value in Hindi because it is part of the system, that language system. Now you understand. So, if an item is not included in that particular language, or it is not of that particular language, it has no value for that language and speakers of that language. For example, if I say in English, kitab, nobody will answer that. It is because it is not in oppositional relation with other words. For the time being, I am using that word in that language. So this is point one. And it is a strict web of relations. What? Language. And therefore, every item in the language should belong to it. If it is outside, it will have no meaning at all. That's one thing. So secondly is a difference. So let's put down one. It's a web of relations. And that we have already seen. Isn't it? Book and kitab. Book and the kitab. Kitab is not part of English, so it has no value in English. But book is part of English, and so it has value. Tree is part of English, it has value. But is it bird? Tree. Bird. There's no value in English. Why? No meaning in English, because it doesn't belong to English. First point. Second point, I am trying to explain what Saussure said, as I understand it. I will always say like that. But many people understand these things in many ways. See, if you look at if you listen to many people speaking about structuralism, you will get many ideas. Okay, mine is a very minor contribution. That's all. Please understand it that way. So paired has none. Second point is the relation is oppositional. Oppositional relation, or is a difference. That's what he said, no? So Saussure said there is only difference in language, not presence, only difference. Now what does that mean? If you want to identify an item in a particular language, then you identify it like this. So rat is rat because it is not cat. Cat is cat because it is not dog. Dog is dog because it is not camel. Camel is camel because it is not man. Man is man because it is not woman. That's it. You understand that? When you say just one word in a language that belongs to a particular language, what happens is that it stands in opposition to all the other words in that language. Or you can say the entire dictionary but this one. Entire dictionary, I am just saying about, I just mentioned the dictionary because dictionary has all the words of that particular language. Otherwise what happens? Suppose there is no difference, only in that case there will be only one word. Cat, 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 everything is cat. Bulb is cat, everything. No difference. But each one is different. Listen, difference not only in when you say that, even the structure you can see. See, rat, this is rat, phonemes, and this is cat. See that difference in phonemes. Not only as we say, later on we will see the reference, but also difference in phonemes. Rat is rat because it is not R-A-T. Here it is K-A-T. The difference there is one. First one, here the first one. So both are different words. Understand? So that is second point that he said. And then the next one is language he said language has got two aspects. Two aspects. What are those aspects? One, this is the third point. One is lang and parole. What is lang and what is parole? Lang is the system, the underlying system, set of rules, or you can say the grammar. Okay, lang means the grammar. Later we will see that grammar is used. The grammar of capitalism, the grammar of culture. Then don't think that subject, object, verb and also not that, but the structure, the underlying structure. The grammar of psychoanalysis. Because it cuts across all the disciplines, structuralism. So structuralism is a multidisciplinary, not only interdisciplinary but multidisciplinary approach to your analysis of text or search for meaning. Not only inter but multidisciplinary. So you have got a Saussurean linguistic structuralism, you have got the Marxist structuralism, you have got the psychoanalytic structuralism, you have got cultural structuralism. So different fields you will find culturalism. Understand? So here you have got the lang and parole. So lang is the system or set of rules. You consider it like that. Your mobile phone is a lang. Okay, that's because it's a system. But the use of that mobile phone is parole. But that means when you are, so language is a system, but when I am using it, see what you hear is the parole, not the lang. Because I cannot bring before you all the rules and regulations and combinations of English language. I can only use very little of that. Or you can consider it like this in my terms explained, terms and linguistics explained. There is a series, I have got series of lectures. In that also I have said, I have explained this. Lang is like a pool of water. And parole is like taking a cup of water and drinking it, using it. That's so this is lang is a set of rules and regulations or underlying rules, you can say, a system. And when you use that system, that becomes parole. It's very important because you have got. I think I am not confusing. Suppose you are studying the Marxist structure. What is the lang and what is the parole? The parole is what you see, the separate effects or aspects of capitalism, see, or Marxism. But the underlying rules are different. If there is no principles, there cannot be action. That's all. So lang is principles and parole is action. See, for example, marching, military marching, they have got certain rules. When you see the army marching, then marching is the parole. I think that is now clear to you. So, two aspects, very important. First, language is a web of relations and therefore the item that is outside has no meaning. It is a closed system. There is no entry, outside entry. Outsiders are not allowed to enter. And if an item goes out, then it will have no meaning in as well as this language is concerned. Second point we said, all the items in a language, they are in oppositional relation. There is only difference, not present. Okay, and that is lang and the parole. And a fourth point, I think today we will put a stop after explaining the next point, that's all. Because otherwise it may be very lengthy. Some students are complaining that some of my lectures are very long. A student wrote like this one. He said, your lecture on Coleridge, that is a theory of imagination, she wrote like this, it is too, then is too long. But what I would suggest is that if it is too long, we can stop it. We can pause it for some day, go for something else, or even a film, come back and restart. That can be done. I am not going to do that today because just one more point I will explain, and that is a language has one is system, the other is parallel. There is a language is a system of signs. Signs, it is a sign system. And that sign, he says, language is a system of signs. It's a sign system. Then there is, you will find difference between other signs. There are iconic signs, for example. See, you have seen now. School drive slowly. You will find a boy and a girl with bag on their back moving like this. So that is an iconic sign. Or traffic signals, they are iconic. Icons are there. Direct, one-to-one relation. Another sign is index, for example. Index is a sign. See, you have got the smoke, that's an index. And then you know if there is fire. That is. So these are different types of signs. What is language? The signs of language, they are symbols. They represent something else. See, when you write like this book, it is a representation of something else. You can't see book here. Iconic signs you can see. Index also we can see. You can see the smoke and fire, the relation. But here, when I be double, where is book? It's no book. Understand? So they are symbolic, you can say. Language is symbolic. That's why we say language is symbolic. And this linguistic science, they have two aspects. And one is signifier. Signifier, and the other is signified. Signified is the mental concept, not the object, the mental concept that you create in your mind because of conventions or tradition or culture. A mental concept. Signifier is either the written word or the spoken word. See, if I say book, it is the written word. Isn't it? Book, sign. Or I don't write it, I just say book. That is also a sign. Linguistic sign. So linguistic signs, there is another extreme view. You need not write, you need not speak, but just think, book. That is also. You need not pronounce it. Even that is a linguistic sign. Because there is a mental concept. Okay. So you have got this signifier. You can be either in the written form or in the spoken form. Sound. Or you can see letters or phonemes, and here it is spoken sound. That will do. Signifier and signified. Signifier is the symbol, the symbolic representation of something, and signified is the mental concept. Understand? So these are the things. Summary, I am giving summary. These are the points that Saussure made. We will continue some more points. If you know this, you know. If what I say, mine is not the last word. On the other hand, if you go through this, what I have been telling you so far, and also if you listen to the coming 1 or 2 classes, then I think you get an idea of what Saussure said about linguistics and structuralism. How structuralism is related to linguistics. And once we know that, then you can apply this structuralism to all the other branches of knowledge. That's why you have got a variety of multiplicity of structuralisms, say like Marxist structuralism, feminist structuralism. You have got psychoanalytic structuralism. You have then capitalist structuralism. Like that. Understand? So because this is the foundation anyhow. The very idea of structuralism. See how meaning can be made, or how the world outside can be understood. So before that, you remember what Plato said. Plato, ideal and the actual. He says, what you see is only copy of the ideal. Understand? In that way. Or you have got to use big words like ontology, essences, epistemology, theory of knowledge. These things are there, these are big words. But structuralism says that none of these things will help you to understand the world outside, the external world. Only structuralism. And as you know, it started somewhere in 1950s and say it went up to 1980s. Afterwards, slowly the popularity of this ism also slowly was waning. And what happened to structuralism now, we have to wait and see. But anyhow, you have to have a knowledge of what, to understand anything about structuralism, you must have a basic knowledge of what Saussure told us about linguistics. Because his work is in language. As we said, language is a web of relations. Identity can be made only through difference. And then the third point is that there are two aspects for language. One is lang and the other is parole. Lang is the underlying system and parole is what you see, what the use of that system. Like electricity and putting on the switch. Electricity is the system. Then when you put on the switch, that is will be putting on the switch and other effects will be the parole. Alright, and then you have got language is a sign system, a symbolic system, and it has got the signs. They have got two inseparable parts. First one is the signifier. Signifier can be written or spoken, and signified means it represents a mental concept. So we will continue in the next class. Until then, bye. Have a nice time. Hope that you are following.